All right, we got collards, biscuits, mashed potatoes, macaroni and cheese, red rice, fried chicken, green beans, yams. So y'all grab your plate and start fixing.
Paula Deen is a celebrated chef, restaurateur, cookbook author, and television personality, world-renowned for her hearty Southern cuisine. After the success of her first restaurant, The Lady and Sons, Paula began appearing on the Food Network, where she soon landed her own show, Paula's Home Cooking.
Look, Michael, it's low tide.
Paula lives in Savannah, Georgia with her second husband, Michael Groover. Her sons, Jamie and Bobby Deen, live nearby and help run the restaurant.
I had this wonderful childhood, y'all. Up until I was 18, I had never known any pain or really disappointment. And then all of a sudden, at 19, my world literally fell apart. My daddy died at 40. My mother followed my daddy in death just 4 years later. And I was 23 by this time. I had 2 babies under 3 and a marriage that we didn't see eye to eye on a lot of things. So self-preservation, I guess, set in for me, and I became agoraphobic. I didn't feel safe anymore, and I was afraid to leave my house. You know, and I found that my kitchen was the most therapeutic place that I could escape to. I had no idea that it would, in the end, be my salvation. The years with agoraphobia, I missed a lot of things. And now I want to learn everything I can so that I can pass that part of the family on to my children.
You expecting anything in particular?
I have no idea.
I thought our family tree was a stump anyhow, because, you know, I mean, not a whole lot of us.
Or either straight branch where you
one stick.
Family tree doesn't fork. Well, I'm gonna miss you guys
We're gonna miss you too.
bad.
I'm so excited for you.
I love y'all so much.
Love you too.
As much as I hate to leave my sons, you know, I can't wait to begin my journey. I'm heading to Albany, where I was born and raised, to see my Aunt Peggy, my mama's sister. Now, I'm named Paula after my mama's maiden name, Kari Paul, and that's why I want to know more about her side of the family. How are you?
I'm just wonderful. Boy, come over here and have a seat. I've got some things I want to show you.
Oh, I see you got some pictures out.
Yes, and don't they look beautiful?
Beautiful. Oh, I recognize this picture, Aunt Peggy. There at River Bend, Mama in her waitress outfit, along with her daddy. I know that Granddaddy Paul's name is John Larkin Paul.
And his father was John Little Paul, Liddle.
Granddaddy Paul's daddy.
Right.
It's the first time in my life that I've ever heard that.
This is John Little Paul's death certificate.
Okay, his date of birth was April the 3rd, 1860. It even has his father's name, W.B. Paul, and his mother's maiden name, Eliza Batts. She was also born in Lee County.
Okay.
It looks like the apple didn't fall far from the tree. My great-granddaddy, John Little Paul, and his parents, my great-great-grandparents, were all from the same area of Georgia where I was born. So my great-grandfather, John Little Paul, was born 1 year before the Civil War broke out. So we have already gone back 150 years, and I hadn't taken a step yet. You know, the State Archive seems as good a place as any to get started. So I'm off to Moira, Georgia. I'm meeting with genealogist Nathan Matthews at the Georgia State Archives so that I can dig further back into the Paul family history. I am so excited. I had a visit with my Aunt Peggy, and she was able to give me a death certificate of my great-grandfather, John Little Paul.
Okay.
This is about all I have to give you.
Oh, okay.
Right.
So we have the year of birth.
Right.
Our next step would be to look at the 1870 census.
Okay.
Because John Paul would be 10 years old. Let's get the computer and
Okay.
go to...
And you're gonna help me with this,
Right.
aren't you? Because, look, I don't even know how to open it too much. All right. I'm gonna have to put on my little cheaters
Okay, I've got those too.
to be able to see.
We're going to Ancestry.com,
Oh,
the
okay.
census and voter list.
So we're going to 1870?
Right.
So we wanna type in John Paul. He lived in Lee County.
Correct. Okay. Now, I think we've got John Paul here.
He was 11 years old.
Right. And
He
living
lived
in
over here.
in the household of John Batts.
Batts, that was my great-great-grandmother's maiden name.
Right. As on the...
Death certificate.
So right now, it's pretty clear that John Batts could be a relative of John Paul.
Is there any way we can find out why John Little was living with the Batts?
I think what we need to do next is look for his parents. We're going to look for W.B. Paul.
WB, there he
There's
is.
W.B. Let's just print this out, and we
Okay.
can take both 1870 census records and study them together. Here we have W.B. Paul and Eliza, so we know they were living. And let's just take a look back over here at John Batts. And we see John Paul down here.
Living down there.
Right.
What does that say right there? Attending school.
It's possible that there was no school near W.B. Paul.
So he's staying with his mama's family. But now how are Eliza and John Batts related?
Let's look and see if we can find the 1850 census with Eliza to see if we can determine who her parents are.
Okay, so Eliza Batts.
Right.
And then we go down to search.
Right. We have the 1850 census up.
Okay, there's Eliza.
Exactly. Look who's her parents.
John Batts.
And
Mary. These census records have confirmed that my great-grandfather, John Little Paul, was living with my great-great-great-grandparents, John and Mary Batts. I'm curious what the records can tell me about them. And John Batts was a planter. Does that mean farmer?
it means they had a plantation.
A plantation?
Yeah.
Wow. How would I find out more about John Batts?
The Georgia Archives here has a general name index.
Okay.
So let's go take a look at that. This up on the
Okay,
counter, a
great.
bit easier for you.
Yes.
Okay?
Thank you.
Sure.
Uh-oh, I think I'm getting close. John Batts. Here he is. H.R. Lee County. What does that mean?
House of Representatives.
A politician.
Yes.
Paula Deen is at the State Archives in Morrow, where she just discovered that her 3 times great-grandfather, John Batts, was a politician in the state of Georgia.
He was representative of Lee County as a senator in 1859 to 1860, and then in the House of Representatives 2 years prior to that, 1857, 1858.
And what is this? See?
Justice of the Inferior Court, 1856, 1857.
He was a judge, you say?
That's what it appears.
How would I find out more about my great-great-great-granddaddy?
Right. What I recommend is during the time that he was in the Georgia legislature, the capital was in Milledgeville. It would probably be a good idea to locate someone who has knowledge of the local history there to find out more about the political career of John Batts.
Thank you, thank you. This is all so exciting. I have found out that my great-great-great-grandfather was a politician before the Civil War. Never would I have dreamt that. I've traveled to the old state capitol building in Milledgeville, Georgia, where I've arranged to meet with historian Bob Wilson, who has been gathering information on John Batts's political career.
The reason I asked you here, I thought this would be, in exploring the history of your ancestor, the most appropriate place in the old legislative chamber where he actually served and spoke and introduced legislation.
This is the room he was in.
This is the room he was in.
150 years later, my honey could be in his chair.
Isn't that wonderful?
That
And I will
crazy.
tell you, you know, if you are kind of wondering about the atmosphere of this room, I'm
it's
thinking,
beautiful.
back then, you would have had spittoons around the place. You know, this is a male-dominated society.
Man's
A
man.
man's world here. It would have been a lot more commotion.
Well, I want to know about my great-great-great-grandfather Batts, what he stood for, what kind of man he was.
This is from a Milledgeville newspaper. As you can read the headlines here.
A very large and enthusiastic meeting of the democracy of Lee County was held to ratify the nomination of Breckinridge and Lane and to appoint delegates to the electoral convention to be held in Milledgeville. The chair appointed the following gentlemen delegates to the Milledgeville Convention: F.H. West, John Batts. What is this about,
What
Bob?
they are doing is they're going to come up here and argue that Georgia should support John Breckinridge for president. John Breckinridge at the time, in 1860, was actually Vice President of the United States. He was very, very strong on preserving Southern institutions. And so they felt...
I think I got you.
In the 1850s, growing tensions over slavery strained relations between the North and the South. Heading into the 1860 election, the Republican Party nominated Abraham Lincoln, who opposed any expansion of slavery. The Democratic Party split, nominating two different candidates, the moderate Stephen Douglas and John Breckinridge, who ran on a pro-slavery platform. Lincoln was ultimately elected, which outraged the South and sparked the start of the Civil War.
One other way of documenting your great-great-great-grandfather's interests in this is by looking at the census records. Take a look, and you can kind of see at the top what we're dealing with here.
This census was taken in 1860. John Batts was 45 years old. He was a planter, and his value of real estate was $17,500. And his value of personal estate is $32,000.
Exactly.
Which is, you know, it's a lot of money back then.
You know, it's hard to factor up. People always say, what would this be in modern terms? But it could be close to $1 million.
Wow.
The main source of wealth for a Southern planter, when you see a figure like that, it's going to be in people.
Oh.
And so let me show you this document here and see what it's called right up front.
Slave inhabitants. John Batts. $35. was a lot. I have said so many times, well, my family was never involved in slavery in any way. It's horrific and it's sad.
It's the hard reality of the Old South.
It was a shock for me to find out my 3 times great-grandfather owning a living human being. I've got to absorb everything that was told to me today. I almost feel like somebody took a bucket of cold water and threw it in my face. If I could go back and talk to him, I would do everything in my power to convince him not to participate in the heinous act of slavery.
Paula Deen is in Athens, hoping to learn how the Civil War impacted her 3 times great-grandfather, John Batts, a wealthy Georgia plantation owner. So she is meeting with historian Rachel Sheldon.
Thanks so much for meeting with me.
My pleasure.
I want to share with you a census report. And this was 1 year before the war broke out. And you're mighty, mighty young to know so much about that time period. So I know that my great-great-great-grandfather, John Batts, was not considered a farmer, but a planter.
Yes.
But I'm like eaten up with curiosity now. What happened to this man and his family when the Civil War broke out?
Well, first we might want to find out if he fought in the war. We can find out with some certainty by looking at the roster of the Confederate soldiers.
Into the bees.
Into the bees. So we don't see John.
Right.
So he didn't fight.
He was like 45 years old at the time of this census. So he was probably too old.
So maybe we can see if some of his sons fought.
Oh, okay. William was 22 at the time. A.L. Williams, no, that wasn't him, so it had to be this one.
Yeah, so we've got William. Let me see if I can find us some documents.
Okay, great. Thank you, thank you. Oops, hey.
Okay. So it looks like William did fight. William joined the 12th Georgia Regiment, and this was a volunteer regiment, so he would have gone with a number of his friends from the neighborhood. And we actually have some letters that he wrote.
Oh my goodness, they're well protected, aren't they? Oh my gosh. May I read it out loud?
Please do.
Okay. This was from Richmond, Virginia.
Richmond is where headquarters is, where the Confederate government is.
Right. Dear Father, we arrived safe and sound this morning. We know not how long we shall remain here. Some think 2 weeks and some thinks 4. I heard the captain of 3 companies in council this morning. They say that we will make peace in 2 months. This was June the 23rd, 1861. That was very optimistic. How long did the war actually last?
It lasted until the spring of 1865.
So 4 years. And they thought it would be over in 2 months. How wretched.
William Batts' 12th Georgia Volunteer Infantry formed in June of 1861, 2 months after the start of the war. The unit then traveled to the Confederate capital of Richmond, Virginia to await deployment. The South began the war with an excess of volunteers and high morale, but limited resources left the Confederate Army ill-equipped and unprepared, and early optimism soon faded.
All right, now this is a letter to his sister, Camp Allegheny, Virginia, November the 28th, 1861. So I'm not familiar with Allegheny,
So
Virginia.
that's pretty close to the border of modern-day West Virginia, and it's close to the front.
Okay.
So where he would be engaging in some sort of military combat.
Well, sis, we are into winter quarters at last, and in a miserable condition at that. Just imagine 16 men crowded into one little hut, 16 by 16 feet, one small fireplace to cook and eat and warm around. And the weather cold, bitter cold. Oh, sis, I almost despair of ever returning sometimes. If all this will not demoralize any man living, I don't know what will. But I know that a soldier's life never was nor never will be comfortable. So this one was written in November the 28th, and the first letter written to his father was in June. So he had had almost 6 months to realize the devastation that he was in.
You're really not in good shape anymore.
Right.
You start to see what the war really is like.
Right. Living it was not nearly as romantic as dreaming it. You know, every time I go to an airport and I see all the soldiers coming and going, they all look like babies. Yeah. They're so young looking. And he was right there.
So young.
And this letter, May 20th, 1862, so 6 months later,
yeah.
Stanton Hospital, Virginia. Oh my God, he's in the hospital. So we know that he was injured. Oh my goodness. The ball struck me about halfway between the knee and ankle on the front side, struck the bone, certainly, but so near spent that it just cut through the skin and bounded back. It hurt me so badly that I thought the bone was broken at first. But fortunately, it was not. I shall soon be able for duty. I will close by saying to you to remember me in love to all the family, especially my dear mother. Your devoted son, William Batts. You know, hearing this young man through his words, I can't help but think he was a fine young man, a good, decent young man.
Yeah.
So, there are no more letters?
That's it.
Why?
Paula Deen is in Athens, Georgia, where she has found a rare collection of letters written by William Batts, a soldier in the Confederate Army, to his family. Now, she wants to know why there are no more letters from William.
We have one more folder here. Unfortunately, we don't have the originals of these. They've been lost.
Yes.
But these are transcriptions of the originals.
Okay, so this letter is from S.G. Pryor, who was...
He was William's commanding
officer.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Pryor is writing this letter to his wife. This is Saturday, August the 9th. This is just 3 months after he was wounded. My dear Penelope, I take the opportunity this morning to write you a few lines to let you know something of another battle. Our loss was 2 killed, 8 wounded. Billy Batts. Oh my God. And Thomas T. Lindsley, killed dead on the field. Oh. Billy and Tom were buried as soldiers. I had their graves marked. I guess they will never be moved, as they had no coffins. You know, it's very strange that just those few letters, I got to know Billy, and I liked him. I liked him a lot. And then to find out he was killed, it's very sad. So, our next letter.
This is a response of his wife.
And she is writing this letter back to him 21 days later. My dear Shep, I take the opportunity tonight to write you a few lines. I stayed today with Mr. Batt's family. Oh dear. How my heart aches to think of them. Mr. Batts is worse than any of the rest. He talks of nothing else. He told me you had written to him and that you assured him Billy died at his post. He felt proud and consoled in the thought.
It was important for John to know that
his son was brave and he didn't run. Right.
Hard to lose a son, but he died fighting for something that his father believed in.
Right. The war still has 2 or 3 more years to live on. The South loses the war. So what would have happened to my family after the South lost?
We can find out what happens to John Batts if we want to look on your computer there.
Okay.
And go to this website, Fold 3, which gives us historical military records.
Okay. JOHN space. And then come over here to search.
Mm-hmm. Here's John Batts.
Mm-hmm. I can see that. To His Excellency, Andrew Johnson, President of the United States, the petition of the undersigned John Batts, a planter, applied for.
It says pardon. He's applying for a pardon.
What do you mean?
Well, according to the Northerners, the Southerners would have been committing treason. So as a result, you would need a pardon.
Okay.
And that's what this is right here.
After the assassination of Abraham Lincoln, newly sworn-in President Andrew Johnson, in an effort to reunite the divided nation, offered a blanket pardon to nearly all Southerners. However, the wealthiest planters, including John Batts, were made to request individual pardons by swearing loyalty to the U.S. and documenting that they had freed all their slaves. It was a painful task for many Southerners, yet thousands applied for and received pardons.
Thus, he now submits to the government of the United States in reference to the freedom of the slaves. He informed his Negroes thereof, and since then, he has been employing them at fair and proper wages.
And you can see from this letter that he proves that he's freed his slaves as part of his process for getting a pardon.
You know, in the Reconstruction years, how did he handle that? How did he hold up?
It's a great question, and I think talking with an economic historian of Reconstruction would be a great way to pursue it.
Well, thank you so much. In his pardon, my 3 times great-grandfather had to agree that he would go along with the government's rules and regulations. It's hard for me to imagine that a man could change his views and opinions that quickly overnight. But there was so much going on in John Batts's life. He was gonna have to keep on without his oldest son, whom he loved dearly. I cannot imagine the pain he must have felt in the heavy heart. Now, what I want to know, y'all, is how he managed after the war. Was he able to get back on his feet? So, in order to find this out, I'm heading to Emory University, where I'm going to be visiting with historian James Rourke. So my great-great-great-grandfather, John Batts.
Yes.
He was a wealthy plantation owner, and his oldest son, Billy, was killed in the war. So what I would like to find out now is how he fared after the war. I know you can't tell me emotionally.
It was a massive transformation
Yes.
and very difficult for everybody involved.
Right.
When the Civil War ended in 1865, the South lay in ruins. 1 in 5 adult men were dead. The Confederate dollar was worthless, and the slaves, who had been a main source of wealth for plantation owners, had been emancipated. But some wealthy Southerners retained enough capital to survive the economic instability of the Reconstruction era.
We have here the tax returns, the estimates of wealth for the years 1871 through 1879.
Okay.
And I think it would be helpful to make a chart.
Jim explained that it would be simpler to write down the important information from these tax lists, like the number of hired hands, you know, the money in the household, and the total value of the plantation.
And I think what we can do is to do this for each year.
Each year, since we've got 9 years.
Number of hands.
All right, 40.
40, all right.
1873 now. He had 37 hands.
37 hands.
Everything was fine financially for Batts. And then I came to 1874.
Number of hands.
It's definitely a 3.
I think that's the number.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
Okay. Money, 400.
Oh, my goodness, Jim. It fell considerably. What was going on?
1873. There is a massive depression, and it certainly affected John Batts and other cotton planters in the South,
Right.
in the sense that money became tight.
The money has definitely...
It definitely declined drastically.
Okay. Let's go ahead and jump ahead to the last year of records we have.
Okay, 1879. Number of hands.
It looks like no one.
Are we down to 0?
It's just like 0, 0, 0 all the way across.
It may be. Let's look down below his name.
Mrs. Mary Batts, executive. He had died.
I did find one other bit of information that you need to see.
Paula Deen is in Atlanta, Georgia, where she learned that her 3 times great-grandfather, once a wealthy plantation owner, lost nearly everything within 9 years of the Civil War's end. She just received a document that explains what became of John Batts.
Oh my God. He committed suicide.
He did.
It was all too much for him. Oh, sweet bejeez. We regret to learn that the gentleman whose name is mentioned above, Judge John Batts, one of the oldest and most respected citizens of Lee County, committed suicide on Sunday morning, the 19th, by shooting himself through the head with a pistol. Our informant says that the judge has shown evidences of mental depression for months past, and his family has been fearing that he would commit the deed for some time. His death has cast a gloom over the village of Smithfield, and his family have the sympathy of everyone who knew him. so sad.
Yes, it is.
My heart breaks for him. Because I almost feel that he could have survived all this had Billy lived. I have a feeling that that was the most devastating thing for him. To lose a child in a war that was lost. He lost his son for really no reason. I've been through some hard times. I've battled depression from the death of my parents and going through agoraphobia. But even through all that, while life was emotionally hard for me, I still loved life. But I've never experienced the pain of losing a child. So I can't judge because I did not walk in those moccasins. Jim was kind enough to tell me where John Batts' plantation was located. And it turns out that it's near Smithville, adjacent to where I was raised. It looks like that I'm going full circle. I just hope that I can find some trace of my family there. So much took place on this land. This is where Billy was raised. This is where Billy's letters came to during the Civil War. And this is where my great-great-great-grandfather committed suicide. I'm gonna make my way around here because apparently this was the house. But there appears to be nothing left of it. Oh my gosh. I bet the kitchen's set somewhere in this area because they would have cooked in a fireplace. Amazing. It's a real strange feeling coming out here. The lands are beautiful, but where the house sat, it's sad looking. I'm hoping that there was a lot of happy times in that house with children and grandchildren. I'm most excited to tell my sons how deep we go back in the state of Georgia and where we actually started.
Paula Deen's journey into her family's past has taken her across the state of Georgia and now brings her back home to Savannah.
I have learned so many fascinating things about my family history. I can hardly wait to tell my boys, Jamie and Bobby. Hey, guys.
Hey, Mama. How was your trip?
Oh, it was wonderful. I've missed y'all so
I missed you more.
much. Oh.
How are you?
Oh my gosh, I'm great. I've got so much to tell y'all. In my travels all over the state of Georgia, I have found that we are deeply, deeply vested in this beautiful state. Family means more to me than anything in this world. And I have found in my great-great-great-grandfather a tremendous love of family. He lost his son in the Civil War, and his name was John Batts. And I also found out that this grandfather of ours owned 35 slaves.
Wow.
So it was a huge shock to start my journey, finding out that he had slaves. You cannot own a man. You cannot do it. We can't change history, but I do have control over today.
Was it a constant just range of emotion?
Yes.
We sure missed you.
I missed y'all too.
Glad that you're home.
Me too.
Don't you want to cook us dinner?
Yes, I do.
I'm hungry.
You know what I'm gonna make y'all?
What you gonna make?
I'm gonna make y'all crab cakes
Oh, that's great.
and potato casserole.